Hey Miami Lakers, welcome to our daily COVID-19 update. It's no longer daily, we're doing it Mondays and Thursdays, but today is Mental Health Thursday, where we're going to have a robust discussion thanks to Councilman Collazo, who has a very special guest with him. Today we also have our town manager here with us today to talk about some of the new things that are happening around the county, talking about beaches and what's going to happen next Monday, which is so important, and we'll jump into the mental health discussion right after that. Bienvenidos recientes en nuestra ciudad. Hoy es un día importante, vamos a estar hablando del update del coronavirus, lo que está pasando hoy, lo que va a pasar el lunes que viene con los gimnasios, todos diferentes negocios que se van a reabrir, las playas y eso, pero también hoy es el jueves de la salud mental y tenemos el Concejal Collazo con una persona que ha invitado muy especial para hablar con ustedes hoy. Yo sé que esta es una iniciativa del concejal que ha empujado muy duro para estar seguro que esta discusión, esta conversación tan importante pasa aquí en nuestra comunidad. So Miami Lakers, I'm going to pass it over real quick to our town manager to give you the update. Remember, we will be taking questions at the end, right after we jump into our Mental Health Thursdays. But start submitting those questions now. We'll get to every single one of them. I believe we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So make sure you use any of those three platforms and get those questions out. Mr. Manager, what's today's update?
Yeah, today's number in the report issued by the state of Florida is 74 cases of confirmed positive coronavirus here in the town of Miami Lakes. Now, we've been saying this lately several times, and I want to reiterate it, that does not mean that there are right now 74 people that are positive with the coronavirus. That means that since the beginning of the coronavirus, 74 people have tested positive. As we know, the majority of those people, whether they've been serious or very mild cases of it, they've been able to recover. So that is an important fact. So le quería decir a todo el mundo que el número de casos confirmados ha llegado al número de 74. Eso es en el reporte que nos da diariamente del estado de la Florida. Pero quería recordarle que eso no quiere decir que actualmente tenemos 74 casos activos ahora mismo con el coronavirus. Eso es que desde el principio, desde el coronavirus, han habido 74 personas que se han probado en el examen, han sido positivos. La mayoría ya han pasado esa etapa, ya están recuperados. Quiero recordarles que no es que hay 74 personas actualmente dando vuelta en nuestra ciudad con el coronavirus, pero es que desde el principio ya han llegado al número ese de 74.
So I know you touched upon it. The beaches are reopening. I know that next Monday is a big day too. We're going to be talking about gyms. Well, we'll get to that once we finish with Mental Health Thursday, but we can touch upon that a little bit later too, because I know a lot of folks are calling us.
Yeah, there's great news, things that opened up this week, as well as things that are going to be opening up Monday, June the 8th.
And phase 2 throughout Florida does not include Palm Beach, Broward, or Miami-Dade. Unfortunately, does not include the 3 counties in South Florida, but phase 2 throughout the rest of the state is moving forward, which is great. We know that we're right behind the rest of the state, so that's great news. Now, before we jump into, I'll help segue into Mental Health Thursdays, but something I really wanted to talk to you guys about happening around our nation due to the murder of George Floyd. George Floyd was murdered by a police officer in Minneapolis. There were 3 other police officers there that were complicit in his murder. We need justice, and there will be justice throughout the system for George Floyd. And something I want Councilman Collazo for George Floyd and his family, but something I want Councilman Collazo to talk about today is empathy. Because we know how powerful that is. We need to see the world through other people's eyes. We need to walk in other people's shoes to understand what's really going on. Too many times we're stuck in our own bubble, right? We sort of live in our communities. We're sort of in our own bubbles with our friends and this and that. So we kind of hear the same idea, the same thoughts. We kind of all grew up the same. But we live in such a diverse nation that's many times we don't understand what other people are going through, our brothers and sisters throughout this country, what's going through, what's happening. But I know empathy is extremely powerful. It has the power to fix all the world's issues, right? It's one of the most important character traits But I really wanted Councilman Collazo to dive into that, to the word empathy and how it's so important to everything that's happening today, and then we'll jump into the rest of the discussion. So, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Manager, and thank you for the opportunity once again to highlight the importance of mental health, mental wellness, and today I am joined by that great presentation on burnout, but I think it's a great opportunity as well, as the Mayor said, to talk a little bit about empathy and what is empathy. Empathy is the ability to actually understand another person's emotional state of mind or what they're going through at that time. And when the Mayor brought up the word empathy, and I started thinking about, well, what do we do on a daily basis serving this community? And the most important thing that we do is listen. That skill alone, just to take the time, will help us develop the skill of being more empathic and giving us the opportunity to understand another person's perspective. We do it all the time on the days. This day is sometimes sharply divided on issues of policy. We don't always agree on everything. But the opportunity to listen to one another helps us advance a dialogue and ultimately gets us to a very sound place. So that skill, the one that we do as your elected body, the one that many therapists use on a daily basis to help people with mental health issues, be developed, and that's the skill to listen and understand, and that's what embodies empathy. So thank you, Mayor, for bringing that forward, and without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce Mrs. Daniela Garcia from the Therapy Labs by Rosy Barroso.
Thank you so much, Louis. Thank you, gentlemen. So again, my name is Daniela Garcia from the Therapy Labs by Rosa Barroso, and today I'm going to be talking about knowing yourself and tips for burnout. So kind of wanted to start this presentation with a question in mind. What are your experiences with burnout? And, kind of keep that question in your mind, like, what it is that kind of gets us to the point that we are burnout and what it exactly triggers that. So just keep that in mind while I'm going through the presentation here. So just to talk about what burnout is. So burnout, it comes in two categories. It's general, emotional, physical, logical, job-related burnout. So both obviously take place in two different settings. So general as in, like, say, you going out in your environment as a friend, as a family member, also as a coworker. And then job-related, so, going out being, let's say, a doctor or even a salesperson, or even just, let's say, being a worker, wherever that may be. And a lot of that can take a physical toll on ourselves and will cause us out to be burned out by all this physical exhaustion and putting into our work as with our clients or just people in general. So we tend to see decrease in motivation. We see decrease in wanting to work with our clients and being able to, as Louis has said, being able to be empathetic with people and be able to throw out those skills with our clients and just people in general. So again, some main causes of burnout, and I'm pretty sure, like also with COVID-19, being able to put out those skills of listening and being empathetic. We tend to see excessive workload can take out a toll, causing burnout, poor work conditions, job demands, work-family conflicts. So a lot of us who had to bring our jobs into our homes, into our family lives, usually we sometimes leave our jobs at home, jobs in a separate place, and then home life is home life. So bringing those two together can definitely cause some work-family conflicts. Lack of role clarity, so doing more than what we're expected to do. Role conflict, what are we as a person in our roles in jobs, or as a person, we have different roles in our lives. We're a friend, we're a family, we're a co-worker. Conflicting work demands, so, trying to juggle all those things together. How am I going to get this done tomorrow, and how am I supposed to get everything done within the week? So burnout usually goes through 12 stages. It's excessive drive of ambition, pushing ourselves to work harder than what is usual for us, conflict, no time for non-work needs, so self-care, denial, withdrawal, behavioral changes, and then also depression, mental and physical exhaustion. So if you have gone through burnout, some signs usually that start to indicate what burnout is. Feelings of inadequacy, depersonalization, which is basically experiencing our own experiences outside of our own bodies. So what happens is that our bodies take such a physical toll within ourselves that we end up actually watching ourselves from an outside viewpoint. Emotional detachment, so us being not present with others and being present with our cynicism, reduced work accomplishment, exhaustion, irritability, frequent illness, poor care, and fantasies of leaving or escaping. So a lot of these signs of burnout, so a lot of these like indicators of burnout start leading into mental disorders such as depression and anxiety. And for depression, a lot of what I'm going to read now is the symptoms of that. And this can vary with everybody. You don't have to go through all the symptoms, but more common than not, usually we experience one or two of these. So feelings of pleasure, weight changes, fatigue, feelings of worthlessness and guilt, poor concentration, thoughts of suicide or self-harming behaviors. And with that goes into certain physiological changes within our bodies. So we start to feel body aches, stomach aches, headaches, and back pain. And then with anxiety, so some symptoms are feelings of dread, hyperarousal, expecting the worst of things, feeling edgy and tension in our bodies, irritability, and mind fog. So mind fog, so pretty much like it's almost like a tunnel vision where we focus on that one negative thing and we know it's going to go wrong, we know it's going to happen in the worst possible way. Then some physical symptoms, racing heart, dizziness, shortness of breath, muscle tension, insomnia, shaking, sweating, and upset stomach. So kind of to just talk about the link between anxiety and depression. So anxiety and depression for most, when you suffer from depression, more than likely you're going to suffer through anxiety. Not all the symptoms, but they do correlate with each other. And from what research has shown, a lot of that stems from the same biological principle and vulnerability, and causing them to be hand in hand. And it's important to seek out treatment for both so then that way you're able to get the best care possible. And some ways to cope with that are the following: seeking therapy, going out for psychiatric services for medication, challenging those negative, unrealistic ways of thinking, getting in touch with your spirituality or religion, unplugging yourself from things away from technology. So in regards to COVID, a lot of us are doing more Zoom meetings, doing more telephone calls. So taking that time to separate that and taking time for ourselves and being present. Having a support system and having a schedule. So some ways to avoid burnout and avoid getting to the point of burnout are making sure that you receive resources, at least for job-related burnout, is to promote that motivational process to be able to get out and lead to that positive work engagement. And some personal resources is that promote that resiliency. So you being able to go out and be able to control that effect on burnout and be able to impact your environment. Practicing self-care, so simple things such as exercising, having a balanced diet, making time with your friends, making time for family, and practicing a healthy sleep schedule. And then some other things regarding for depression and anxiety is joining a support group. So what I want to talk about here is having this wellness toolbox. So I did talk about a lot of things that would help to